Welcome into Tomorrow. I'm Dave Graveline. Our guest in this product spotlight this week is a gentleman who does a lot with security and uses technology for security, including a lot of consumer tech for security. He is the president of the South Florida Security Group. And full disclosure here, I brought them into my community because of the fact that they use so much technology. So his company actually protects us into Tomorrow. Rick Perez. Rick, welcome into Tomorrow. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much for having us out here.
It's a pleasure, and I'm delighted to have you, especially on the program. Be sure to hear the 2 radio segments this week at intotomorrow.com if you've missed it on your local station. In the meantime, we've got lots of cool stuff that we're talking about, but we wanted to show some of the products that we talked about on the radio segment. So tell us about how you use, in this case, some consumer tech to work for your clients.
Right. So we've gotten a few consumer products, like for example Ring, and we've modified it a little bit and put a Wi-Fi hotspot inside of there, plus a solar panel on the top to charge everything up. And so we can make this into like a mobile device where we can just set it up in any area. We put a bracket on the back of it to be able to attach to a pole or to a tree or to anything like that. And once it detects motion, it will automatically send a signal and you can see it real-time live.
So this is like particularly interesting for maybe monitoring a pool area or any trouble spot where someone, whether it's a community or a warehouse or a retail store or something, a parking lot, where you want to be able to have access to it at any time, and using this consumer technology of the Ring device, very popular device and getting more and more popular all the time, where folks use it as a simple video doorbell. You're able to take that consumer tech and incorporate it into a professional security operation.
Right, and it also records 6 months worth of video.
Stores it in the cloud so you can access it if something happened a long time ago. You can go back and look
immediately, and time and date stamps everything, so it's good for evidence. It's a great product. We just modified it a little bit to make it work for us, and it's been working really well.
That's very cool, and I'm glad that you're using consumer tech to make a difference in what your folks are doing. One of the things we didn't even have time for in 2 radio segments was to talk about body cams. Certainly a lot of them are in the news these days with law enforcement and security officers and so forth. Tell me about the body cams that you guys use with your security officers.
So we use a weather-resistant body camera that basically the security officer has a punch button.
There's a remote on the belt.
Remote control, right? And he can turn the camera on to start to record just a snapshot pictures or be able to stop it. So the advantage to that is you're going to see what actually happened, what actually transpired. It's not one security officer's opinion of what happened. You can actually see what actually happened, so you can deal with the situation a little bit better. And if there's anything that we need to do for training, we'd like to review those videos to be able to see how we could have maybe acted better, or to show transparency to the client.
Sure, because not only are you seeing what's happening, but you're hearing it as well. So if somebody's being abusive, whether it's unfortunately the guard being abusive to maybe a resident or a customer, or more likely some visitor being abusive to the guard, you've got it all on camera, so on video and audio. And again, you mentioned for training purposes, it's probably an invaluable tool.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Talk a little bit about this huge pickup truck that's outside our studios as well, and tell me what you use this for. It is very intimidating, and yet is loaded with tech.
It is absolutely loaded with tech. We made it in a way that we can move it from one truck to another fairly easy. It's a rapidly deployed product that rises. It has a 22-foot pole that reaches all the way out.
So it's a telescoping pole that goes up, and what's on top of this pole looks like a whole lot of gear.
So there's 2 150-watt spotlights on the top there, LED, and we have it wired down to a battery pack with a solar panel on it. And we also have a 22 times optical speed dome with a day-night camera with infrared illuminators on it, that we have it working in conjunction so it can track motion. And so the speed dome will actually pick up where there's motion using the other cameras, and then track motion in a particular area. We also added some 4-megapixel cameras all the way around. And then the other thing that we did inside of it is that we put a kind of like a speaker or a megaphone that we built inside of it. We kind of just put all these pieces together really to make it work.
But you really custom made a security vehicle that is awesome at monitoring activity in any situation and remotely.
Yeah, it's a real force multiplier because where you have an area that maybe you may need more security officers, you can deploy the truck. The truck can let you know that there's an issue in that area and there needs a response. But apart from that, you can actually speak through the system, and a speaker, there's a high-pitched speaker in there that you can actually communicate.
Wow, so you have the ability to maybe disperse a crowd or let people know that maybe version 2 is going to have pepper spray or something. I don't know, whatever.
We're working on that.
Exactly. The fact is that you can utilize all kinds of technology and a very intimidating looking vehicle that, if nothing else, is going to have some bad guys and gals, any bad actors, as people are often known to say, think twice before they pass that area. Because chances are they're now also on video, and we're going to know that they walked by here or they caused a problem at some point.
Yeah, and by us being able to communicate with them or be able to tell them to disperse or to leave the area, they hear a real person speaking. That changes the whole dynamic of everything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hey, you in the red shirt.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Move on, you know, and so forth.
When they're looking at their shirt and they're seeing that it's red, they're thinking to themselves, oh, yeah, they're talking about me. Let me get out of here. This is a restricted area.
Now, real quick, too, forward-looking infrared. You guys are utilizing this. We've had them on the show at CES, I think, a couple of years ago. This just plugs in to any smartphone. You've got them for iPhone-y devices as well as Android, and this one, of course, for Android. But how helpful is FLIR in security work?
So this is great. We're just testing this out right now. We're getting everything working. We've mounted them into the actual vehicles with a tablet. And so as the security officer is patrolling, he's able to see if somebody's hiding in a particular area, or, for example, if a vehicle just arrived. It's great consumer technology that we're just seeing. It's a great price, great product. It seems like it's going to work out real well for what we do.
Very cool. Now, we saved one of the more interesting things for last, that and the fact that we didn't have a disposable camera until the end. So, and you're going to see why we're talking about that now. Tell me about this particular device, which I understand is the Guardian 8 Pro V2 personal defense device. Sounds very complicated, but what does it do?
It's a really neat product. What it does is it actually videotapes what's happening. So once you...
Okay, so there's a video camera in the front as well.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a video camera in the front, there's a laser in the front, there's a siren, and basically when you activate the unit, it will actually call the supervisor or call command staff to let them know that you're engaged in a situation.
Now, of course, you're watching the video, so you know, but those listening on the radio, we described it as kind of like a Nintendo game piece, first-person shooter thing or something, or a stormtrooper's gun or something. Right. But give us an idea on the less expensive camera, as we point to it, about the laser sight and the fact that you mentioned it'll do a very bright light and a high-pitched siren, and then do pepper spray.
Exactly. That's exactly what it will do, and it will videotape the entire situation, so you can report properly to law enforcement and let them know exactly what happened and what exactly why.
So now it's engaged. We see lights are on it as well, so we can see that it's powered up, and now we're aiming the laser at this other camera, and you're showing what then can happen. I notice Andy getting out of the way behind the camera there. All right. And then pepper spray. Wow.
That's it.
Awesome. And thank you, Andy, cleaning the camera already, but now you know why we didn't use one of the $8,000 cameras.
Exactly,
just in case. And you're assuring me that this was a training water cannon thing, not pepper.
No pepper spray.
Oh,
we would feel it. By
yeah, even we would be affected by now.
But it's a direct thin stream that hits exactly what you're pointing at.
I mean, the laser pointer enough to hopefully intimidate someone who may be threatening you or your guards or whomever. And then by the time you add the strobe light and the pepper spray, hopefully you have defended yourself appropriately in a non-lethal way.
And it shows an indicator in the back letting you know that it has been discharged.
Oh,
once, and it records that and indicates that to the police officer, so he'll know exactly what time it was shot and how it was shot.
And then this video will then also go to a smartphone or a tablet, so
Exactly.
you have it immediately.
Immediately, and it can be literally emailed to law enforcement right there on the scene.
Dynamite. Well, there's so much more to talk about. We're going to have Rick back very soon because they're also, believe it or not, working on the awesome truck version 2. So we're going to have to find out what else you've added to the second vehicle now. But Rick, you're a delight to chat with, and thanks for protecting our community and protecting us into tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check everything out at intotomorrow.com, and don't miss the 2 radio segments with Rick and Chris on Into Tomorrow.